John, values, you refer to values often. Can somebody change their values? Can somebody alter them, bring new values into their life to actually change the way they do things?
Absolutely. Values are evolving throughout life. Yeah. When you're 0 to 10, you want to play. When you're 10 to 20, you want to socialize. When you're 20 to 30, you want to find a relationship, maybe start a career. When you're 30 to 40, you may want to find, have a family and now stabilize that career and get some wealth started. When you're 40 to 50, as some people joke, they say, well, now we start an affair. I'm joking. but what happens is that your values are evolving constantly based on two different ways. One is the gradual hypothesis, and the other is what they call a punctate cataclysmic hypothesis. The gradual hypothesis is that micro little events that challenge you or support you tweak the value systems along the way. So if somebody says to you, you're on a roll and you're building your business and people go in and give you awards for it and reward that, you want to catapult it further. If it's all of a sudden they slam dunk it, you withdraw from it. So things can change that in micro amounts, or a cataclysmic event, a wife all of a sudden divorcing you, or a death in the family, or something else can change you in another direction. So most people don't have the cataclysmic, they have gradual changes. And because of that, there is a science on how to transform those value systems in a way that you automatically can accomplish things that you say you want to do that you have had a difficulty doing. I'll give an example. There are 6 things that I've found that underline people that have wealth. Because when I stand in front of a group of people, I could stand in front of 1,000 people or 5,000 people, and I could say, how many of you want to be financially independent? Everybody puts their hand up. 100% put their hand up. And I said, how many of you are financially independent? 99% put their hand down. And it gets quiet. I said, isn't it interesting that 100% put your hand up, but only 1% actually obtain it? Why? The reason being is because if I asked all of you right now to write down 100 benefits of building wealth in your life, I'll bet you would write down, I would buy this car, I'd buy this shoes, I'd buy this new outfit, I'd buy this new house. It's all consumable and immediate gratification of consumables. 1% would be writing down, I want to invest it this way, I want to make sure I double my money, I want to make sure I manage it, I'm really looking forward to put it in the markets, I want to see if I can grow a new business with it. There's 1% that have a value on building it, and the other are consumers.
Right.
So until they have a change in their values, they live in a fantasy which leads to the ABCDs of negativity: self-anger and aggression, blame and feelings of betrayal to themselves, criticism and challenge of themselves, internal negative dialogue, and despondency and despair. So as long as they're having these unrealistic expectations to live outside their values with fantasies, they're self-defeating. So the key is to be able to shift the values to match these goals that they have, or shift the goals to match the values. Right. So you either got to know yourself and know your values and set goals that are realistic to it, and that's fulfillment, or you got to say, okay, if I really want this financial independence and this big business, I'm going to have to shift it into that as a value. Now there's 6 things that I've proven that make a difference in raising the business and finances on your values, if you want me to go through those. These are 6 things. And if you're out there listening to this, get a pad out with a pen and write these, because it will change your life. Change your financial and business destiny. Number 1, everybody's writing. Number 1, write down 200 benefits of building a business that serves ever greater numbers of people. Write down 200 benefits, and I mean stretch your mind. You got to remyelinate the brain. You have glial cells in the brain, and these glial cells respond to your values. And anytime you're doing something that helps you fulfill values, your glial cells myelinate the sensory and motor nerves and allow you to excel in that area. So if you don't have something that's a value, a real reason for doing it, a big burning desire, as Napoleon Hill says, you're not going to do it. When the why is big enough, the house take care of themselves. So you're going to write 200 benefits of building a business that serves ever greater numbers of people. You won't find one billionaire out there that's not doing that. When you think of Microsoft, that's building a business that serves ever greater number of people. Oracle,
right.
Virgin, right? You could take it's Facebook. Any company that, if it doesn't have that as a value, it's already self-defeating, because that's the source of where the money's going to come from.
Right.
Without that, there's no source. So you have to have, as a value, a dedication, an inspiration, a can't wait to get up in the morning attitude to build a business that serves ever greater numbers of people. That's number 1. So 200 benefits of doing that. Because if you sit down and write down all the benefits of how, if I had money, what I would do with it, you'll be a consumer. Guaranteed. The second in it is 200 benefits And this may take you an hour, it may take you 5 hours, it may take you a week. But you put it on your computer, you can do this, or on your pen and paper. 200 benefits of refining, polishing, managing more effectively and efficiently that business to maximize profits. That means working on the business, not in the business.
Right.
And you got to be committed to that. If you're not committed to working on the business, then it's another fantasy. Or, as Virgin Airlines leader Richard Branson does, hire somebody who is dedicated to that objective.
Right.
So if you're not willing to do it, and that's not your specialty, hire somebody to do that, who's committed to that outcome. But that has to be in place. If you write down 200 benefits, you'll be inspired enough to do one or two things. Either take it on yourself, because it's inspiring to you, or hiring a person that will take it on, and you'll make sure you'll self-govern them. You put some sort of a creed somewhere. The third one is 200 benefits of saving an ever-progressive portion of profits. 200 benefits of saving an ever-progressive portion of the profits. Because if you don't have a desire for making profit, you'll never take the profit.
Right.
And everybody talks about they want to have profit, but if your consumables, the second you get the profit, you spend it, and you never have money working for you. You've got to save a portion of it.
Right.
Isn't it interesting that in 1999 to 2000, Bill Gates had $87 billion, and 27 of it was in a money market, earning 5.6%.
Amazing.
Now you think, well, why does the wealthiest man in the world have $27 billion in cash, earning minimal interest rates? Because he knows that if there's liquid and there's cushion in a company, it's stable, and it draws business. And what that does, it changes the opportunities, the ideas, the associations, the quality of the clients, and it reduces the volatility of the company, so there's added certainty, and wherever there's certainty in a business, there's more magnetism and draw more business.
Right.
So 200 benefits of saving an ever-progressive portion of profit. And when I say ever-progressive, I mean that every quarter you raise the amount you're saving forced. I call it a forced accelerated savings technique. That's what I've termed it. FAST. You force savings. That means whatever you're saving, you increase it electronically, where there's no emotion. It's just strategically taken out, sticking into a thing where it's now diversifying into a variety of investments. Because if you put all your money back into your own company, you've got all your eggs in one basket, and it's vulnerable.
Right.
You need to diversify and put money back into the company. And so I say, try to increase your savings no less than 1%, preferably 10% every quarter. If you do, the double amount of savings and profit margins are going to go up. It's going to double every 2 years. And that may seem like minimal at first, but average that up in 20 years and you'll see amazing things that come out of that.
Compounding's
$1 billion.
astounding. Yeah.
Okay, the next thing is 200 benefits of investing that money that you've now saved in ever-progressive leveraging and risk, volatilities, called the volatility quotients. So you basically are increasing the leverage of your investment. So you're investing in ever-increasing leverage. So you're getting a higher yield. Every class of investment in the market has a volatility quotient. Each one allows you to get more risk but more reward.
Right.
So you got to earn the right to risk and not just jump into speculations, but do it conservatively and then get a little bit more risk. And eventually, I always say, save, invest, speculate. Many people go out and speculate to try to get rich quick because they're unfulfilled in their job and they're wanting to get rich quick. And that unfulfillment is bleeding and they attract sharks and they get their monies taken from them. The next one is number 5 now, is 200 benefits of accumulating a vast fortune. You've got to have a benefit for actually building a wealth fortune.
A why, a big why, yeah.
Because when you have a why for building a fortune, and I mean actually accumulating it, building it, what that does is it draws money to you. Money automatically circulates through the economy to whoever values it most, from whoever values it least, and automatically goes where it's accumulated most. That's why large cap companies draw in the most investors and the small cap companies get the minnows. So what you have to do is you have to accumulate that and be, in a sense, your own capitalization. In addition to feeding your company, in addition to, if you're going to get floated on the company with an IPO, you want to make sure that you also grow your shares and your issue. But you want to make sure you have some liquid capital. And you want to make sure your investment, you want to accumulate it. Once you do, you're increasing the probability of not having to go to work because you have to, but going to work because you love to. That's when you actually are in the most power. When you're going to work because you're inspired to go do that service, not because you have to, not because you're desperate, not because you want a quick exit strategy and quickly sell a company, because that's usually picked up eventually. People can see through that. And that means you're in a desperate to get out of the deal when the cycle goes down, and you won't endure the cycle and won't care about the people. Then the next one is, the 6th one, is 200 benefits of actually creating a legacy, creating a cause that leaves a legacy with your wealth. So it's a philanthropic thing you go back to the society with. You've extracted from the society, you've lived a great life, you give back to the society. And this has got to be something, preferably, that inspires young entrepreneurs, brings education to people. Why? Because the more people that are in jobs, the more the economic growth occurs. Ricardo's law of efficiency steps in. More specialties are born. Everybody wins out of the deal, and a greater culture comes out of it. So those 6 things, 200 for each one of those 6 things, and I guarantee if you do that, your perception of business and profits are just changed.
I think what that does is it creates an abundance mentality in your head. It kind of, do you think you come up with 200, John, or is that just something you're aiming for?
Well, the reason I'm picking 200 is not arbitrary. If you do 20 to 30, you won't remyelinate the brain.
Right, okay.
Because you see, anytime, it's like a workout. If you go to your comfort zone, you don't make any change.
Right.
You got to go beyond. When you can't think of any more, that's when you're starting to make a change.
Right.
When you just go, I can't think of any more. And most people hit that about 60 or 70 and they go, I'm blank. That's when the growth occurs.
Okay.
Because the ones that they already know, and that hasn't changed them.
Yes. Right.
It's the ones they don't know.
It's kind of stretching yourself.
It's stretching yourself.
Yeah.
When a person does that, I have a gentleman who's 32 years old right now that did this 2.5 years ago. He's now just did a $20 million deal.
Wow.
Okay? He's 32 years old, he did a $20 million deal. Where he was before and after that is a big difference. I had a young lady, she's about 26 years old. The same thing. She's 5 times her income since she did this exercise. This exercise changes your values, and whatever's highest on your value determines what you see in the environment and what you act upon and how fast you make decisions. If it's not high in your values, you won't see it.